Good afternoon from Urbana. It's Tuesday, December 7th. I'm Owen Henderson.
I'm Baze Avaral. Welcome to UI7 Live. Today we take a closer look at local drag performances, some a cappella, and the rise of esports on campus. Let's take a look at the stories. Since the start of the pandemic, lockdowns and travel restrictions have become common, and it is hard to travel around. According to UI7 Julia Jing, while staying at home, some students have been spending time on developing their hobbies.
My name is Jianing Li, and I'm a senior in accounting and finance. My hobby is sword collecting, and I first discovered this hobby in my sophomore year during the COVID pandemic.
Even though Jianing is not a history major or taking any courses about military history, he is passionate about it and understands it very well.
My current collection is quite small, and as you can see, I have 4 swords in total. First one is Japanese wakizashi. It is basically used for piercing armor. And the second one is the Filipino espada udaga. It's a pair of swords, and it's relatively short compared to the others, and it's more suited for close quarters combat. The third one is a Italian 17th century stiletto dagger. It's made by Todd Cutlery, and as you can see, it doesn't have an edge. All of the force is focused on the point. And finally, for my most prized collection, this is the Napoleonic light cover Imperial Guard saber. So it has a length of 38 inch and half, and it has a weight of 2.8 ounce. It's made of E9 hard carbon steel. It's mainly used on the horseback.
Collecting swords is not a common hobby. Jianing's roommate and friends commented that they are impressed by his collection.
I found it quite admirable, his interest in history and his corresponding interest in amassing this collection of swords of his. And he's quite passionate about history, and we sometimes talk about it, and I found his passion in that sense quite admirable.
I knew his collection since the first time I met him, and it is really cool to see his interest. And he sometimes shows his collections to us, and it is really interesting to see these different swords and weapons from various culture and historical backgrounds.
Due to the high prices of swords, Jianing decided he could not continue his collection. Also, he cannot bring this sword back to China. But he did learn a lot through his hobby.
I do not encourage violence by any means by collecting these swords. Actually, I realized a lot about human physics and how conflicts start, so that I can actually get myself out of a conflict and prevent myself from harm. And also, I understand a lot about history, and so by having these real items in my hands, I get to know about real life and real events that occurred.
Even though Jianing is not going to continue collecting swords, he will still keep on exploring his interest in military history.
While football and basketball get most of the Illini Nation's affection, it's not the only sport on campus that's getting big wins. UI7 reporter JJ Kim takes a look at a sport that looks to reshape what it means to be a student athlete.
With long hours of practice, studying film, and competing in matches, an Illini esports player has a lot of the same responsibilities that a traditional student athlete has. Illini Esports is a registered student organization created in 2015 that houses some of the best gamers on campus. The organization has several teams for a variety of video games from Call of Duty to League of Legends. President of Illini Esports, AJ Taylor, says that esports is special because it generates school spirit for those who aren't interested in basketball or football.
But when we see players that are playing with their jerseys on in a live event necessarily, sure, yeah, it's a video game, but it's still the fact that they now have a little bit of school pride and kind of can rope that into themselves because they feel proud that they're representing their university or their college or whatever.
Teams can compete in national tournaments and win cash prizes of around $50,000, while individuals can also win prizes of around $10,000. Illini Esports is also sponsored by local and national companies, supplying them with gaming equipment like mice, keyboard, and headsets. The organization also offers a $500 scholarship alongside 2 $250 scholarships for select members of Illini Esports.
I'm here at the Idea Lab in the Greatinger Engineering Library, where the Illini Esports team comes to meet for practice. The computers here have the capacity to handle the games that they need to play, and it's a good spot to have some team chemistry built.
Just like traditional organized sports, Illini Esports requires a student to balance their performance both in school and in the arena. Although there can be differing opinions on the status of esports players being considered student athletes, Daniel King says that the mental aspect of sports remains the same.
Mentality-wise, too, a lot of people don't realize that when you're in a game, you need to stay positive and tell yourself like you can stay in it, even if you're getting smoked or like not playing well, because it'll affect everybody else and you all play worse when that happens.
For players like junior Jacob Demos, the camaraderie gained from the games they play is what's most valuable to him.
I mean, just the people are awesome. I think it's kind of like making a connection, kind of getting out here since it's my first year here on campus.
Given that Illini Esports and the sport as a whole is relatively new to the world of organized activities, players hope that people will soon recognize that competitive gaming requires similar levels of commitment and dedication to their craft as traditional sports. Until then, they will continue to game on. In Urbana, I'm JJ Kim, UI7.
Student feedback is what caused a proposed policy to be edited by university representatives. UI7's Maggie Bernetti looked into what this means for students.
A university policy update regulating student demonstrations is still undergoing revisions. Facility Operations 82 was issued in July and last updated in mid-September. The restrictions outline matters such as public safety, amplified sound, university activities, and posting materials, all under what is allowed legally. As it stands, the draft regulates the area surrounding Alma Mater and the quad side of the Union at Anniversary Plaza. It includes a clause for using water-soluble chalk on sidewalks and other university property. Materials are allowed to be posted with a few regulations, such as that they are displayed properly, taken down 48 hours after the event, and for non-commercial purpose. Associate Chancellor of Public Affairs Robin Kaler commented on the policy updates in an email, stating that you'll see that this proposed policy recognizes the right of students and other university community members to engage in expressive activity protected by the First Amendment, subject to legally permissible time, place, and manner restrictions.
It's no surprise that students who want to protest on campus would have a strong reaction to limits on their ability to do so. Feedback from the proposed update pushed back revisions to be completed sometime in the middle of January.
Junior Nicole Arnold was part of these discussions with the university and contributed to the revision conversation.
The major point of concern is when they aren't succinct enough to where this policy could be arbitrarily used against certain groups of students, especially those who are more likely to protest.
Protests earlier this year used both amplified sound as well as the space surrounding Alma Mater. Junior in political science Patrick Sullivan spoke on his experience as a student.
Well, I mean, I've noticed like large groups like on campus before. I don't know if it was per se like protests, but it's never like inhibited my ability to go to class or anything like that.
The university assures that student input and other relevant third-party perspectives are involved in creating the new draft. In Urbana, I'm Maggie Bernetti, UI7 Live.
The COVID-19 vaccines can be our chance to get back to our plans, to get back to each other, to life. But it's okay to have questions, like, how were the vaccines tested? In rigorous clinical trials among adults of diverse backgrounds. Find the latest information at getvaccineanswers.org.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now I'm anything but lonely.
We have this like deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
In efforts to add a meaningful message to the social work building, 2 University of Illinois students painted murals, showcasing their passion for art and social justice. In the work since 2019, this initiative is now open for campus community to observe. UI7 reporter Paula Beltran-Guterres has more.
Keenan Daly, a recent master's graduate in graphic design, is an Afrofuturistic artist, which means he puts Black bodies and experiences centered in the future. An example of this is the Marvel film Black Panther. His mural, titled Year 401, in recognition of 400 years of slavery, was first done as digital art and then printed and sealed onto the wall. He added features like dotting to make his mural give off a comic book feel, and worked with a variety of brown shades to depict a superhero black family.
I would love for a person to interact with this and say, that's a black person. What does that mean? I don't know, but I'm going to engage with that. And I'm going to have to sit and think about that. I want there to be revolutionary conversations.
Like Keenan, another University of Illinois student was given the opportunity to add his artistic touch.
I love art, and I've definitely tried my hand at it, but I'll leave it to the experts in the campus community who are trying to make their passions into realities, just like Cesar Ortiz.
An undergraduate student in graphic design, Cesar Ortiz, titled his mural El Apoyo, which translates to the support. It's a hand-painted mural that merges elements of digital pixels and graffiti. Two hands reaching for each other, inspired by Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam, are filled with pixelated squares of all types of skin color, to signify the diversity of the students on campus. Adding details like the number 7 for the 7 pillars of social work, he wanted the social work community to walk by and feel pride for the work that they do.
Even though it's like a home away from home, what a lot of people say, but like I'm just trying to show like you could bring that with you and like it doesn't have to be left behind.
As this mural is certainly open to interpretation, Cesar explains that he wants a Latina and students of color to walk by and feel like they're a part of something. That even when you think you're alone, that there's always someone willing to give you a helping hand. Students on campus recognize the new art by Keenan and Cesar and feel the inclusivity from their murals.
You know, as a person of color, I think it's really important that, you know, more people especially in different fields, start recognizing the contributions we've made too.
Paola Beltrán Gutierrez, UI7 News.
The Champaign-Urbana music scene is one of the best things the area has to offer. With a variety of artists from indie to punk rock, there's a musician for everyone's taste, but one of the local favorites is Nectar. UI7's Becca Bertram spoke to some of the band's members.
Indie punk band Nectar has been playing in the CU area for a couple of years. The band is composed of vocalist and guitarist Camila Glowacki, bassist Isabel Skidmore, guitarist Aaron Schultz, and drummer Jake Mott. However, Nectar did not initially start out as a band, but as Glowacki's independent project.
So it started out just as me playing shows by myself, and then from that, just inviting friends to fill in the other spots, and then we just kind of went from there.
Once Glowacki noticed that a lot of her friends were playing for other bands in the area, she expanded her project. From there, she recruited her current bandmates by going to shows, meeting new people and current musicians, then inviting them to join Nectar. Bandmate Isabel Skidmore was previously a fan of Nectar before joining as their bassist.
I joined the band sort of after the fact when I was starting out playing in bands in Champaign. I was a huge fan of Nectar and really loved to see them play. So it was really fun to join after the fact when they needed someone to fill in on bass. And I've been part of the band ever since.
Nectar started out from the DIY scene, or the do-it-yourself scene, popularized by musicians in the area, as taking their career into their own hands. Nectar finds that they have found support from that community due to bands not needing a proper venue to play out, but instead play house shows. The pandemic has made it harder for Nectar to share their music, but they practice in a storage unit that they and other artists in the area use as well. Urbana is very popular for house shows, and it's where Nectar plays most of their shows because this is where the DIY scene mostly happens on campus. Be sure to look out for the music video for their song Routine, and all songs by Nectar can be found on Spotify and Apple Music. For UI7 Live, I'm Becca Bertram.
Many registered student organizations are seeking out ways to be more sustainable and eco-friendly. The Student Sustainability Committee works with many RSOs in order to create a greener campus, one of them being the Vermiculture Club. UI7's Emmy Larson has more.
Plastic bins, cotton balls, and orange peels. All of these simple items can create a vermicomposting kit. Vermiculture is an environmental RSO at the University of Illinois that is working toward a more sustainable campus, like using worm composting kits to reduce waste. Stuart Seputro, president and co-founder of Vermiculture, discussed the many benefits of this newly founded environmental student organization.
We realized that in Champaign-Urbana, there's not a lot of options for food waste management, and we decided to do that by distributing vermicomposting kits for free.
Vermiculture had lots of success in fall 2021, which included raising nearly $20,000 with other environmental groups, collaborating with 15 other organizations, and 75 households benefiting from their composting kits. Each vermicompost kit is equipped with instruction guides in order to take care of and maintain your red wigglers. Adding bedding from old papers, avoiding oily and acidic foods, and making sure to feed them a right amount are just a few examples. On Vermiculture's social media sites, you can see that they offer more than just these worm kits, but fundraisers that also sell sustainable items like laundry kits that use natural items in order to do laundry in a more eco-friendly way. Even though Vermiculture engages in fundraisers, they are funded by the Student Sustainability Committee. Jack Reckerts, the chair of the SSC, discussed why they chose to take on Vermiculture.
In addition to addressing food waste issues, really actually like giving students some engagement and stuff like that. So that was a project we said, hey, this is definitely going to give us some bang for its buck.
The SSC is an RSO that is responsible for allocating $1.5 million into sustainability projects and advertises a wide range of organizations, like Karma Trade, a store that was started by engineering student Mona Fang.
Hoping in the future that we no longer have to produce as much clothing and material goods as we do today, enabling us to transform consumption to a circular economy.
Mona's desire to make a sustainable way to shop beyond cheap retail stores has brought both student intrigue and desire for change into one place, which perfectly defined Jack's goal for the SSC.
That we have a very strong core mission of trying not just to increase sustainability on campus to the benefit of students, to the benefit of the environment at large, but also increasing the culture of sustainability on campus. Because
these environmentally conscious RSOs are looking into even more innovative ways to improve on a cleaner campus in the upcoming semester. With the help of TV shows like RuPaul's Drag Race and the subsequent fame of their contestants, drag performance has gained a wider audience and more attention in recent years. Champaign-Urbana has its own set of drag performers, and I spoke to some of them to find out what drew them to the art form. Jess Schliff and Antoine Allen are two such local performers. Schliff is a theater receptionist in CU that has also been moonlighting as the drag king Spank Knightley for almost 4 years. Spank's drag is sometimes ghostly, and Schliff describes him as a vaudeville villain. His performances include songs and sketches in bars, as well as videos Schliff creates at home. Between the makeup and the costumes and the video equipment, Schliff says that drag is an expensive hobby, but says they wouldn't give it up because it allows them to explore all of their interests within performing.
You get to be your own director, you get to be your own producer, you get to be your own makeup artist, you get to be your own choreographer, you get to be your own writer, you know, that's something, I get full creative control of myself. And that's something that I never quite get doing regular theater.
Alan, on the other hand, is relatively new to drag. He's an acting student at U of I who started exploring drag during the pandemic and ended up creating the persona Smokey Doc, a drag queen who performs songs, stand-up comedy, and improv. Despite having competed in drag competitions on Instagram, Smokey will be doing a live show for the very first time this January. She says drag is a really valuable form of self-expression and urges people to follow their passions, even if they aren't sure how it'll turn out.
Just go for whatever you want, really. Try it. Always test the waters. Never be scared to do things. Never be scared to dip your big toe into that pool, because you can live your life with saying, okay, I tried it, but it wasn't for me. But you can't just walk through life saying, oh, I wish I would have tried that, or I wish I would have done that. No, don't live that way. That's not a way to live, so.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Whether it's advice on managing your anxiety or tools to help you stay grounded, Coping-19 provides a range of resources and self-care tips to help you cope with this pandemic. We can help. Find the resources that work best for you at coping-19.org.
In 2000, two students from the suburbs of Chicago combined their love of tea with their passion for singing by forming an a cappella group, taking the campus and the country by storm. UI7 reporter Jared Ebanks talked to the current members of the group.
On Saturdays at 7:30 p.m., the corridors of Lincoln Hall ring with the voices of one of Champaign's finest a cappella groups. Chi-Town, an all-male South Asian act, is world-renowned, performing and releasing their music internationally since 2001. All of Chi-Town's songs are interlaced with both Hindi and English lyrics, creating an immersive yet unique experience for their listeners. I'm here outside of their practice at room 1057 at Lincoln Hall, where we're about to see how the magic is made. The group mixes popular Western sounds with South Asian songs using unique and complex vocal arrangements. Their most recent song, Bang Bang Get Lucky, is a fusion between the lead song from Indian action comedy Bang Bang and Daft Punk's Get Lucky. As a recording group, Chi-Town has produced 5 studio albums, releasing their music on SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. Abhi Thosar, a junior at the university, serves as the president and main vocal coach for the group.
We're actually a recording group, so a lot of our stuff is on Spotify, and back before COVID, we used to tour nationally as well as internationally.
Chi-Town is open to all levels of vocal ability, which drew sophomore in computer science Satej Sathankar into the fold.
It's different. It's not like I'm at college anymore. It's kind of just like its own space. Like, we always come 10:57 in Lincoln Hall around the same time, like 7:30, and it's kind of just 2 hours of just focusing on music, and it's really cool because, like, I know everybody else wants to get better, everybody else wants to sound good. I mean, I want to sound good too, so.
Yash Hiramith sings tenor 2 and previously served on the executive board. As he phases out of the group in anticipation for graduation, he's taken more of a mentorship role within the collection.
The last year I was a president, and the year before that I was a treasurer, so I guess I do sort of have an authoritative figure on the group, but right now I sort of just help out the executive board in what they have to do. And I also just help out the newer members because they're still getting accustomed to the group.
The members of Chi-Town have many goals, but hold one above all: to celebrate the voices of South Asian culture. From Lincoln Hall, I'm Jared Ebanks, UI7 Live.
Students in journalism have a lot of opportunities to get involved, and in a variety of areas. But one way, specifically for radio, is through WPGU. UI7's Josh Peash has more.
WPGU 107. WPGU is a fully commercial student-run radio station at the University of Illinois that has shows air all 7 days of the week on 107.1. The shows range from general talk shows to sports to introducing underground music and more. The shows take place in one of 2 WPGU studios in the basement of the YMCA on Wright Street, one studio being much bigger than the other and hosting the majority of the shows. The studios are filled with decorations, including albums, music posters, and more.
I'm here in the office right outside the actual studio for WPGU, but not many people know what WPGU actually stands for. The W stands for Western, east or west of the Mississippi River, and PGU stands for Parade Ground Units, which is what you know now is the six-pack, which is where WPGU originally started. It wasn't until 2018, after quite a bit of moving around, that WPGU got to where it is now on Wright Street.
WPGU is a place for students to have a good time on the radio, but also to improve their skills. Joanna Ramo, who hosts a show showcasing some underground alternative music called The Sauce, says the show has not only helped her be comfortable on the radio, but as a speaker in general.
You just get used to being, you're live, so you kind of have to be ready to speak and not mess up. If you do mess up, it's fine, but I think that's helped a lot with interviewing and for things I've done that when I've been on camera.
One of the unique things about WPGU is that it is open to people of all majors, not just those in journalism. Some shows are solo, but most involve two people, which means there's a chance to meet a lot of different faces. Justin Malone, who hosts a talk show called Morning Coffee Run, which he does with a friend, says he's enjoyed all the people he's met since being a part of WPGU.
Kind of branching out into the community, finding some friends, and there's a really weird cross-section of the people that work here. I run the news department, so I speak with a lot of journalism majors, but we've also got biochemistry majors and plenty of other people that are, not even close to being involved in media production or journalism or anything like that. Just people that you wouldn't normally interact with.
WPGU teaches important skills, builds relationships, and is fun for those who are on air, which is why there are shows airing each day of the week. Brendan Jones, one of the hosts of Illini Drive, a sports talk show, encourages everyone that's interested in joining WPGU to give it a try.
Please, please, please do it. It's like literally so fun. It gets you so much experience. It gets you so comfortable with yourself as a journalist, with yourself as a talker, as a speaker, and it just gives you just confidence, I think.
To get involved, you can visit WPGU.com to contact a director.
Her campus, Illinois, hosted its annual Winter Glamourland event on Friday for the first time since the pandemic, and I attended this year's gathering at iHotel's Heritage Hall. Her campus is a national organization, with the U of I campus being one of the largest chapters. For the organization's Glamourland event, the attendees purchased a ticket for $6 and put in their names and contact info to sign up for a raffle. The event offers students a chance to get together and de-stress before the finals. While an estimate of 70 people RSVP'd for the event, the organizer is expected to turn out to be higher. The organization accepts donations such as fashion and self-care items appealing to a college demographic from local and national brands in exchange for promoting the businesses to the event's attendees, giving back to the Champaign-Urbana community. And here's what the president of Her Campus, Illinois had to say about fundraising for a local charity.
Proceeds from our tickets go to Courage Connection. It's located in Champaign-Urbana, and we are giving them those proceeds because they are a organization who helps those who are victims of domestic violence. It's a shelter, and so all of those proceeds will go to them.
The holiday season has officially started, and the air is filled with cheer. This year, Urbana has put a tradition on its head with a new spin. Reporter Sada Ridgway has more.
I'm here at the Keeping It Glassy event, and behind me is a tall Christmas tree being built entirely from glass, donated from the community. In 2020, the tree broke a record for being the tallest, ranking in at 32 feet, and this year, they decided to beat that record again. What you're witnessing here is glass that's been melted in a furnace and ladled onto a metal frame that spins to build its needles and branches. Jason Mack, the glass blower artist, says the community is to thank for this creation.
There's going to be, by the end of it, about 4,000 pounds of glass on the tree. And this is all glass the community brought to us in the form of post-consumer glass. So baby food jars, wine bottles, pasta jars, anything that's post-consumer recycled glass. We crush it up, shovel it in the furnace. We melt it at 2,300 degrees. We can melt 300 pounds at a time. So we can put 300 pounds of glass on the tree per day.
Aside from the gleaming tree, there were carolers who invited the audience to sing along to holiday songs and booths that sold a variety of items like handmade ornaments, frames, and t-shirts. Megan Parsons, a St. Jude runner, says she's here to fundraise.
I'm actually doing this for charity. So my husband and I are St. Jude runners, and we are just doing whatever we can to raise as much money as possible for St. Jude. We've been able to raise, I would say, over $5,000.
If you needed a little warmth, hot cocoa and crepes among other food was offered. Or if you need a last-minute gift, this is the place to be for a local shop. Lauren White, a Delight Flower Farm representative, says teaching about CBD benefits is her favorite part of it.
This specific event, I really like talking to people about the products. CBD has really helped a lot of folks with any sort of joint or nerve pain, and they feel really comfortable asking me, or telling me their story and asking me how CBD can help them. So it's nice to just gain that connection.
The tree will be built over the next few weeks, so you have until December 9th to visit and have some fun.
If you missed any of our newscasts, you can always watch this broadcast or individual stories in our media channel. You can see more stories on our webpage at ui7live.com. Finally, we invite you to like, follow, and subscribe to all of our social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're easy to find. Simply search #UI7Live.
That's going to be all from us this week. From all of our crew, thanks for watching. I'm Owen Henderson.
And I'm Baze Overall. Have a good week.